Hello, Reds. Welcome back. Week 2, game week 2. Well, yeah. Okay, so we are going to, it's a bit of a short round. It's a short video today because life gets in the way and things happen and whatnot. But my name is Charlie. I'm joined by the brilliant, wonderful Kulbir, who's been a steady, it's like my rock. While we go through this transfer window and all the ups and downs and the misdirects and the smoke screens and all that jazz, Kulbir is keeping me calm.
Oh,
But how
it's
are you,
ridiculous.
really?
Ridiculous, the noise, the ridiculous. I just try and stay calm about it because it's there's so many situations where you buy great players that do brilliantly and you buy players that aren't very good that do brilliantly. And so the idea that this price tag means anything, all it really,
We're talking about obviously Barcola, right?
not even Barcola, just everybody.
Just then, yeah.
We have players that can play in these positions. Just because you're not happy about it doesn't mean we're going to run out and buy new players. Like, we're not looking at buying right left backs. Suddenly, isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just need to calm down with this because he is good, right? And he is fast. Like, there are faster strikers out there. It's not because of that they scored. It's because we got caught, and that was the problem.
So, interestingly, we were going to be talking about last week's game, the Newcastle first game of the season. Okay, let me ask you a question. Put your Andoni Iraola hat on. How disappointed, frustrated are you going into a match and everything that you planned for the whole pre-season goes up in smoke in the first 5 minutes? Like, how frustrating is that? Or is this, no, rather than being like really doom and gloom, or be like, okay, these are the areas I need to be working on. It's really known that it is a situation. And I'm talking about the middle two.
Do you think that he was that disappointed or just a little bit? Do you think he was disappointed? Do you think he was frustrated in that decision making? Because I'll tell you what I think in a second. I think you're going to. I'm trying to gauge if you're going to say what I think most people are saying.
Okay, let's see. His press conference, his post-match press conference, was really interesting in the wording that he said. What he said was, it isn't about the personnel; it's more about the responsibility. Something along those lines. Verbatim, it's teaching someone about who takes responsibility to defend, whether that's Gravenberch recognizing that Szoboszlai is further forward, so therefore he needs to stay a bit further back and recognize situations. Is that what you were thinking of?
Yes, to a degree. It's situation awareness,
Good.
right? Because he knows his team isn't going to do that. He knows his team have to be fluid. His style of football is we have to play our odds, play our chances, which is why he was like, if Gravenberch has shot or passed to the right, that situation would not exist. So he's more rueful of the pass to the middle of the pitch. So that was a wrong decision that Gravenberch made. It doesn't matter that they scored. It doesn't matter that they got on the counter-attack, right? It was, we gave them the chance to do that. And there's this phrase that goes, better to be lucky than good. And what's interesting is that what that means is you have to make the best choice to give you the most amount of luck. So him passing to the right on the wing or him shooting minimizes the luck he needs to get away with a pass across the middle of the pitch where there's more defenders that can get a counter. So that's the decision that he made. He's not going to be pissed off with the positioning because he knows the team's going to attack. He knows they have to learn because you can't teach this in a preseason, right? This is in just one preseason. He knows it's a work in progress. So he's now going to be teaching them the decisions that they make in these situations have to be more crucial than that. And they can't just go across to something. You know, when you're a kid, you play for a football team, right? You're a defender. You don't pass back to the keeper. You do not clear the ball across your goal because you're going to catch someone that's going to come and put. If you don't do a good clearance, they're going to score. There's one of the things you did like when you were like 11 aside, when you were like a child, a teenager. Gravenberch did that. He passed the ball when they're all on the attack to where all the players were, and that increases the risk of getting caught, and he got caught. And that is the key to this. And that's what Ira's going to be thinking. It's about how they organise the decisions around how they organise how they move around each other. And you cannot learn that in one preseason.
I agree. And also, on top of that, I think he's probably guilty of being too much of a team player at that point, where if he was a little bit selfish in the sense of the opportunity allowed him to take a shot, because it did open up for him to take the shot on. And if he had done it, and if it goes into Rosette, then fine, fair enough. We just crack on, we get back into position and get our structure. And that's the end of that. What actually happened was he was trying to feed in, I guess, Isak, and he just made a poor pass, a bit rusty or whatever, because he hasn't had the best of pre-seasons or the longest, most fulfilling of pre-seasons. And I think that just kind of culminated in what we saw there. I'm not going to blame Kerkez because Elanga is he's a world class athlete and a world class sprinter in many respects. He's so quick. He probably could be participating in Olympics. I know it sounds daft, but he's that quick. They did. There was a video of him doing almost a sub 10-second sprint, 100-meter sprint. That's how quick he is.
Wow.
Right? 10.6. Now you take that about 10 years ago. He's kind of up there with the best in the world.
Wow.
That's how quick he is.
You then get the clickbaiters out there and you get pundits that just want to create news and they're saying Kerkez is not a good defender. Like, it's just not true. There's so much falseness after this game that's bothered me so much. And like the comments I get in my videos is that we need to do this, we need a better player, this, and that's not the answer. And also we know it's not the answer because Klopp took a team that was never going to be good enough to win the league or Champions League, and they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I heard and read a lot of kind of reactions to Kerkez not bringing down Elanga, and I don't think that was the right situation to do that. Now, let's talk about their second goal, and we can talk about our goals thereafter. But their second goal, because we're focusing on situational awareness and that thing what happened with the first goal. What's your opinion about that second goal for them?
Okay, I'll tell you a good example of this, right? If McAllister is on the pitch, that player is going down.
100%. Absolutely. Agree.
100%.
Agree.
That's it. Because there was not an immense amount of skill in either of them to get past all those players. The players just tried to be near them to block the ball. They didn't put a foot in, right? Yeah. And they all just kept tracking backwards and they got caught and it was a good finish. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then people are not giving Newcastle enough credit for what they did. There's too much shit being thrown towards Liverpool. It's like, okay, let's just hate on Liverpool because they've been crap last season. Let's just carry on. And then I meet people at work who are like, we're still the same. I was like, no, we're completely different. We had the same result, but we are completely different. Yeah,
it is mad. It is mad. I think I probably haven't been that vocal in disappointment in the sense of like, and maybe I have fallen into the trap of the doom and gloom from last season and how that's kind of translated into this season. But, and what you've said, and this is why I say you're my rock, because you give me you ground my expectation of what should be expected from this team. And we've seen a lot of change already in the first few weeks under Iraola and how the team are operating. Okay, absolutely agree. 100%. If McAllister was on the pitch, that second goal probably wouldn't have occurred. Now, in terms of our play, and I put a video up on this channel about the 4 things that really, really impressed me were, I spoke about the XG and the shots and the possession that we had in key areas. And I think that's really, really important. I think it also kind of translates into what we weren't doing last season and what we've done so far this season. Yeah, is a complete difference. We just need to get better, or will get better as time goes on.
Okay, I'll ask you a question that no one's spoken about is what do you think of Cody's goal?
Cody's goal. I think that demonstrates his value to this team. He doesn't get enough credit. He doesn't get enough credit for what he actually does bring to the team in the middle of the park. One of the things about Cody, and I'll come back to you and ask you a question about why. Well, let me ask you, why do you think he struggled last season? I've got a theory behind it, but what's your theory as such?
Well, he struggled. I felt like he struggled with the weight of responsibility of being the left-sided player and then being the player in the middle of the pitch and not having any attacking direction or strategy from the manager. That's what I think the problem was. I think he was kind of hamstrung by what the manager wanted of him, and so he was doing the same boring things, and that looked bad on him.
Do you know my theory? My theory is Cody Gakpo is brilliant when he has or had a brilliant Mo Salah. If you think about a lot of the goals that Cody scores is that back post poaching type of position, right? And he missed that ability to get at the back post because Mo wasn't at his very best. And I think that's a situation why that happened. Now, coming back to his goal, I think it's really important to recognise his opportunistic ability to do what he did. But what are your thoughts anyway about that goal?
Ryan Gravenberch's pass to him, no one spoke about. Ryan put a really good ball in quickly, first touch. I think it was first touch. Went straight to Cody and he turned very fast and ran to space to score the goal. And that was the proactiveness of passing through the lines and giving people space. Which what we did throughout the whole game was be rapid in how we were passing forwards. And I was like, this was not a goal you saw last year. we never did that once. And I was like, this is what this team's about. And I was like, that's brilliant. These are the things I call myself an eternal optimist. I think actually, given my job as a surgeon, you have to be the eternal optimist because that's kind of what you need to be able to do. But I always try to focus on positives, and I have a lot of faith in the manager. And it took me a long time to lose faith in Slot. But through the podcasting, it took me time to realize, actually, I don't think he knows what he's doing. But I sat there analytically working it out. I didn't just randomly come up and say, here's what he's doing, he's rubbish, like a lot of people did. It took me time. And I'm not going to be like, I knew this first. And I don't care about being there first. I just care about having a nuanced opinion. That is something that people can kind of listen to. And I genuinely believe that Slot didn't have an attacking strategy because I couldn't see it. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. Iraola has a strategy. He told you what he was going to do, and that's what they were doing. And it was going to be high risk and high reward. We didn't get the reward. And then let's just not forget the fact that we were at St James's Park on the first day of the season. Exactly. And a team that's broken with a new manager, with Kevin Keegan, who died over the summer. It's like, this was always going to be hard. A draw is an acceptable result.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be one of the toughest games.
Than I realised.
Is the frustration bore out of the reaction from everybody else rather than the actual game itself? Is that where your frustration lies?
Yeah, the punditry. Like Gary Neville just really being bad about our right left back. And that's... Obviously, he knows that position well, and it was the narrative that exists, and like Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Football as well. It's like, this is a skewed perception, and then things become believed because the skewed perceptions that get popularized. Welcome to the world of politics. Welcome to the world of any kind of influence. That's how this works. So, which is why we talk. It's why we put this on, because it's just, and also the Anfield Wrap doing very similar things, which upset me. Because they're very negative about the transfer policy and how that team played. And everyone's an expert, right? I am not an expert, but I talk. People listen to me. And it's like, I appreciate it. But I like to bring something different. I like to bring a positive thing, because how do you go into something so emotionally invested, and when things don't go your way, you need to find a way to not let it completely bring you down? And that's really my aim, the whole of this process.
I agree. I think one of the things that I said to friends, to family, when watching football, and not being goaded by rivals or whatever I read or hear or watch. I think one of the things that people forget is we've seen so many good things as a Liverpool fan over the last decade, 15 years. There have been lows, but there's been so many highs.
Everything we could want.
Exactly. Yeah. So football works in cycles, right?
When Man City on the last day of the season scored 3 goals when they were 2-0 down, and took that title away from us, that broke me. And then us then winning a league, coming back, it was the most incredible thing. And then even when we won the league again, and I got to see it this time because it wasn't COVID. I thought to myself, I've seen everything now, because I went to the Champions League final in Madrid, right? Through the craziest way. And I talked to a lot of Evertonians. I'm going to have to talk about why I don't hate Everton at some point on the podcast, right? Because I have a lot of people at work, and they're always complaining about the privilege that Liverpool fans have, and how it's like, we need to be challenging this season. The aim is not to be challenging this season with the Iraola. The aim is to settle down, find some football, build a squad. Right. And what I realize is that there are people out there that don't get to see what we've seen. And
exactly.
In our lifetime, we've seen everything. And I am a Southerner. And I was a glory hunter child, and now I live and breathe football in the city that I love, which is Liverpool. And that's not a lot of people do that. And do you have to earn your right to be a Liverpool fan? No, you don't. Right? It's just the old days of you just support the team you're born next to does not exist anymore, right?
No.
So I hate this gatekeeping that people have, right? It's like like I was saying the other week, this is a corporation, right? This is a business, right? And like it's their job to attract fans and to attract the money. So the clubs out there that have nothing like this. Right, they have nothing like the legacy, they have nothing like the money, and we are fortunate to be supporting a club that does, and we are fortunate to be fans that are so invested in the club that the club invests in us. And that's what I really love about Liverpool, and that gives me like a bit of kind of individuality. Like, people find the joys, like if you're a City fan or a Chelsea fan, right, but realistically their joy came when they got money, right? That's not how Liverpool worked ever, right? And that I take joy in, right? But Everton hardly won anything. When Newcastle won the League Cup, what a big deal that was, right?
Yeah.
Like, they should take a lot of joy in beating us, right? Whereas we just complain that we're not challenging for the league every single year, and it's like, come on, you got to get some perspective. You got to get a grip, right? And there are die-hard fans that go to matches away and at home in teams that don't win trophies, and we're like, oh, we lost, and watch your TV. It's like, that is not truly being a fan, and it upsets me because, and I've asked some of them, like, I think someone who's a Huddersfield fan, and I said, she goes every week, and I was like, what joy do you have? And she talked about how they won the playoff final at some point, and it was like, that was the greatest joy that we've had. And like, it wasn't anything major, but it was a great match. You won in penalties, and it was an incredible experience, right? And that's nothing for us, right? And it diminishes the joy of being a fan because we're obsessed with trophies, right?
Yeah, it's just a different perspective, and to shift perspective, because I know time is short. And tomorrow, Liverpool playing first home game of the season, Nottingham Forest, 12:30 UK time. Do you expect any changes in terms of the starting 11? Do you expect
no major changes?
I'll put no changes.
It's when he puts Rio. It's when he puts Rio on the right. Is the only question.
Yes, that was the question I was going to say. Do you put Szoboszlai on the right and then allow McAllister to come into the middle, a little bit more solidity?
I wonder whether he plays Munoz or not. I wonder what he's going to do. How adventurous is he going to be?
Yeah,
because why not? Rio is a risk on the right. But to be fair, I think Rio will probably go with Rio again because he's not the sort of. I don't feel like he's the sort of manager that like not give people a second chance. All right, so I think he'll probably go with a similar team. I don't think he'll put McAllister on the pitch. McAllister now, I think because we've always thought of him as not really Argentinian, he's a dirty player. He's always been a dirty player. He's always on the floor. He always rolls around. Always gets the fouls. Right.
Yeah.
That's why he would have stopped that second goal. I guarantee you that. He has a role to play as a 6 or an 8, and so he'll reserve him for when he's needed. I feel, but I don't think he'll put Szoboszlai on the right because he won't fit into the pattern he's practicing because Szoboszlai doesn't play on the right.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Munoz. People probably need to remember Munoz's capabilities. So he's an international player. He was in Spain World Cup squad. Okay, he didn't get a minute, but he's a full international. Rio's not. He's obviously been here at the club longer, but you got to give Munoz a little bit more respect because he's got minutes and playing at top league football, European class as well. So I feel he'll come in at some point when he does get a run of games and he'll show his worth.
There was an interesting article that I read about why England aren't able to win the World Cup and why Spain have replicated a team that was like that when they won the European Cup twice and the World Cup 15 odd years ago. And it's because now the way Spain play football is how all the schools teach kids how to play football.
Yeah. It
is control football, possession passing, unselfish, right? There's no glory people in the Spanish team, which is why they have like a striker that's amazing. I mean, Ferran Torres has been a bit rude to Barcelona, but like, he's not like the people that everyone's like talk about all the time on social media, right? But he deserves his transfer to PSG, but that's not Spain or a team. So Munoz is playing in a team of really good players that have a style of football that will suit Iriola. And Rio is an individual star player since he was a child.
I agree. I thought about that very same thing when it comes to England and their capabilities to be individually brilliant, but tactically as a squad or as a team, it's not there. And that's where the problems lie for decades.
Does not exist.
No.
That is the problem they have.
Yeah. Are you expecting apprehension at Anfield tomorrow, or is it going to be quite boisterous? Do you feel it's going to be quite good? I feel
it'll be excitement.
There'll
be excitement, and there will be some anxiety. I think we just have to go back to the football that go back to the idea we're watching the football that we love.
Yeah.
That we genuinely love. The directness.
And we've seen that in pre-season. Just my worry for the people there at the ground will potentially be it's what's the word? It's the overflow from last season in the sense of the apprehension that they have may spill over into tomorrow because if Nottingham Forest somehow with the very first shot of the game they score or something on this line, and again that fear, the anger that was really, really at the forefront will appear again tomorrow. But for the wrong reasons.
I have more faith in the Liverpool fans than that because they'll be excited. We've got Jeremy Jacquet to support and we've got a new manager to see. And so we will be there supporting them. And I think that we'll be positive about that. And we are, and we should be expecting a counter-attack match where they sit back and they counter us fast. That's what Forest will say. So that is going to happen, right? And we're going to be applauding and cheering for every tackle, every regain of possession, because that's what we used to do. We will see some possession football. We'll see some proactive football. We are bored to death of stop football. And that was what was draining us last year. So we're not going to see that. So early goal is going to bring the anxiety, but I'm hoping that's not going to happen. I'm hoping to see kind of more of a proactive style that we're all good.
I reckon Rio will benefit more from an Anfield crowd. Obviously, he will. It's just known, but he'll probably benefit more from having more possession and having a bigger threat from the right if he does play it on the right, compared to last weekend. As we already said, Newcastle St James Park is a cauldron. It's the first day of the season for them, and they're going to be up for it. I think it's going to be different here, where there's going to be a lot more support, a lot more in your favour, and I think that will help as well. And it does help. First of all, there's two things I just wanted to mention. If there is an announcement on the bar collar overnight, that's going to make the crowd a little bit more excited. And then one of the things that we spoke about was Amit Bhatia and his interview. You know, before we close off, it'd be really good to get your thoughts about what you felt watching that interview of Amit today that was released.
He understood Liverpool, right? Like straight away, you realise. I mean, I don't know if he writes his own script, but straight away that you realise it's his guy knows what this club means to the fans, and the respect he had for that was what for me was the most important thing. And he seemed quite amenable, right? He's affable. He's not very distant. He's smiley. He's sociable. Like FSG were never that. FSG were a little bit far away and not really there. And if he's the sort of person that is more involved, then that's great, and I welcome it. But once again, understanding what this club was about, you can remember, right, that Liverpool is a machine. This football club turns out its history, its legacy, its connection to the fans in every single advert you ever see. Look at the third kit announcement; it was beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it. I actually quite like it. In terms of Amit Bhatia and what he said, there was a few things. First of all, he's very respectful of FSG and their position as majority owners, so they're still decision makers, and he recognises that. He recognised the fans and the sport itself and how important it is to the people. The fans, to people, not just locally, but internationally. That point that you raised about FSG being a little bit far away, he talked about geography as well. And I think it's really important that we understand that if Amit is going to be chairman, co-chairman, whatever role it will be in the near, medium and long-term future, he's going to be around Liverpool as a kind of face for that ownership model. And I think it's really important that he is there, because he has to be that bridge between the fans and the ownership, and I think that's what's been missing from the current model. FSG have tried it with having fan membership on the. So I think the second thing is really funny. I was reading some social media commentary from, of all people, Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan spoke so highly of Amit Bhatia.
Oh no!
And his experience. No. But I think that's kind of, it tells a story of as decisive as Piers Morgan is, when he takes the time out to talk really highly of Amit Bhatia. Maybe that's telling you something. And the second person was Kevin Peterson, the cricketer, the England cricketer. And again, he's a bit of a decisive character. Both of them spoke really incredibly highly of Amit Bhatia. And I think that's really important to maybe grasp or gauge how likable he is as a human being. And I think that's what came across. And that's just what I wanted to talk about. But
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Because when we had Slot, we didn't like him very much. And he didn't seem to like us very much. And having another person next to our manager would be very useful.
Yeah.
You always see these reports, you like Madrid, and you see it with like Barcelona and stuff. And you're like, we have FSG who are like clearly just making loads of money, but we don't really have a view of John Henry, isn't it? And we just don't really see them very often. So we don't see Michael Edwards. Obviously, we don't see Richard Hughes. And I guess you shouldn't do, but they're people that we don't know and don't think very much of. And obviously, our transfer window is affected by the fact that those two are on their way out.
Yes. Well, 50% of that team already gone, haven't they? in Michael Edwards. So he's left the club already. Whether he was actually involved in transfers, who knows? Richard Hughes, though, an interesting character. I don't really hold much. I want to use my words correctly. Yeah. I don't put him in the highest esteem as a sporting director. I feel that maybe he's potentially used Liverpool to better his opportunities to seek out more lucrative employment. Who knows? But let's see. Who knows? That's just my personal opinion. Right?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited about Andy Bartia. I'm not excited about Bezos, but he'll probably be behind the scenes anyway. But
yeah,
you've got to be positive, right? Because at the beginning of the season, there's loads of changes. We've got new people to watch, new people to support. The stagnation is gone because we're a fresh start, and that requires some positive encouragement.
Yeah, I agree, and I hope, and I expect some more positivity to come over the weekend. Certainly tomorrow. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. I hate taking score predictions, but I just want to see, again, progression in terms of what we saw last week. No, you can't. Yeah, exactly. And we don't know what this Oliver Glasner Forest team will be like. He's obviously had the run against us over the last few seasons with Crystal Palace, and you never know what Forest will do because they've beaten us a couple of times at Anfield over the last 2 years. So
yeah,
I know it's harsh, but
it's
just
like lost twice on the bounce to Leeds, right?
Yeah.
22nd August, 25th of what I'm looking at now. They lost 1-0 and 2-0. Haven't scored a goal yet. So obviously we should just batter them. But that's not what this... Does this team batter people? Do they batter people? Slot's team never battered anybody. We won. Didn't batter anybody. Can this team score many goals? What's the strategy? This is excitement. That's what we have to work out. This is what we should be looking forward to.
I think we will give a team a absolute clobbering at some point. Maybe hopefully more than once. I just feel we just need to get that right gel. Maybe Barcola comes in and allows that and hits the ground running. That's only the hope. But let's see. I don't like talking about transfers as much until they're actually done because we've been burned too many times.
True. We are getting Barcola, right? That's not done. Done.
Well, Paul Joyce has come out. And he's like an oracle for me in the sense of if he says it, it's practically done, but nothing's actually been announced. And I think maybe they're waiting to see what else needs to be done.
There was a great excerpt, I think, from The Athletic about the manager of Lyon was talking about Cherki and Barcola and how they're both like incredibly good players, but Cherki was always the loudest in the changing room, but Barcola was just very quiet, very humble, worked really hard, was very thin, very not very strong, and he earned his way through to the best team in Europe by his own hard work and his merit. Because even in that team, he's not first team player, right? But he's in that team, he's the best team. Score goals for France, score goals for PSG. He's the top quality player. Can he hack in the Premier League? We have to hope that he can.
He can. I reckon he can. It's really interesting. If you don't mind me talking about Barcola a little bit more, if you've got time there, Kulbir.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's two players that he reminds me of. And I think he's got like that merge of two players. And you're going to laugh at this, but I feel there's validity behind what I'm saying. Luis Diaz, and the reason why I say that is his ability to make bending runs behind the defense and his quickness. I think that's really key. And the second one is he reminds me of Philippe Coutinho.
Okay, I can hear that. I can see that. Is that because of his nimbleness and the way he runs, his size?
And his ball control, his ability to run past the player through quick feet, and we saw that with Philip in certainly the latter days of his Liverpool career. And I feel what people wanted from Florian Wirtz is that Philippe Coutinho type player performance to make mazy runs and break defenses through, all these type of things, the shooting from distance. And I don't think we're getting that with Florian. Florian's very much more a Bobby Firmino type player.
Did you already say something about Wes, didn't he? He said that he's too busy trying to get the ball and do something with it as opposed to get into the right position to receive the ball.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting comment.
And I think with Barcola coming in, maybe that would allow him to focus on the right places at the right time, making the right decisions, and hopefully that we'll see. And it helps with Isak as well. I really do need Isak to get opportunities.
Second goal scorer in 2 seasons ago, right?
No. So what I was going to say was I need him to get the opportunities. So that's a team thing where it needs to accommodate for Isak, not Isak getting the ball like Harry Kane.
I'm not sure,
and doing
right? Because
things.
he worked really hard last week. He was pressing and he had more
Yeah.
touches than he had in previous games for Liverpool. So I think he's going to be a different style of player under Iraola. It's just whether he can adapt that style.
Yeah, I hope so, and I expect some good things coming out of it. But Kulbir, let's call it off there. I think it's been a brilliant conversation. We got to talk about last week's game and some thoughts about that. Abibatia. We spoke about the game coming up tomorrow. A little bit of Barcola, some transfer news. What else will people want? Right, let's call it off there. Really good to talk to you as always. My name is Charlie. This is Kulbir. We'll be back, and I'm sure we'll do a review of tomorrow's game anyway. But yeah, if you like this type of content, give us a like, a comment, subscribe, share it. We'll do everything that we can, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye.